Today, we are going to crack the code on real, lasting confidence. Seriously, we're going to push past all that flimsy, feel-good advice and build a system that actually works. One that turns that nagging self-doubt into rock-solid self-assurance. So, let's dive in. So, let's just start with a question that I'm sure has crossed your mind 1,000 times. Why does so much of the confidence advice out there just fall flat? Right? You've tried the affirmations, you've tried the positive thinking, and yet that feeling of doubt still creeps back in, especially when it really counts. Well, there's a very, very good reason for that. And here's the core of the issue. Look at this comparison. Common advice tells you to focus on your mindset, to basically just think your way to being confident. But that's built on wishful thinking. It's a house of cards. The real driver, the approach we're talking about today, is all about competence and proof. It's built on a solid foundation of ability, so it creates a kind of self-assurance that doesn't just vanish when things get tough. Okay, so here's the fundamental flaw in almost all traditional confidence advice. It completely ignores the vacuum that self-doubt just loves to fill. You know that gap, the one between what you want to do and what you genuinely know you can do? Well, uncertainty rushes right into that gap, and self-doubt is never far behind. This right here is the central idea. You can stand in the mirror and repeat affirmations all day long, but without a real foundation of skill, they're just empty words. Real, lasting confidence doesn't come from telling yourself you're capable. It comes from collecting cold, hard, proven evidence that you actually are. So, if just telling yourself I'm great isn't the answer, then what is? Well, it all boils down to a pretty simple but totally transformative equation. This is the real formula for confidence. The very first ingredient is clarity, and I don't mean having a vague goal. I mean knowing exactly what you're aiming for. Clarity cuts right through that fog of uncertainty, and it gives you a precise, well-defined target to hit. No more ambiguity. Now for the second and honestly the most crucial ingredient, competence. This is your actual, real-world, demonstrable ability to get the job done. This isn't about what you know in theory, it's the tangible proof built through practice that shows you can actually deliver results. And that brings us to confidence itself. But notice, it's the result, not the starting point. It's the natural outcome when you combine clarity with competence. See, confidence isn't something you can just force or manufacture out of thin air. It has to be earned. So let's put it all together. Here it is, the simple but incredibly powerful equation. Clarity plus competence equals confidence. This is the code. Everything else is just noise. When you know exactly what you need to do and you have the proven skills to do it, confidence just shows up. It's a natural result. Okay, that's the theory. Sounds good, right? But how do we actually put it into practice? Let's get into the step-by-step system, starting with how to build that all-important foundation of competence. First things first, you need to create what we'll call a skill map. I want you to get super specific here. List 5 to 7 core skills you use every week. Things like running effective meetings or data analysis, not vague stuff like leadership. Then rate yourself honestly on a scale of 1 to 10. And finally, this is the most important part. Choose just one of those skills to be your primary focus for the next 90 days. Just one. Okay, once you've picked your target skill, you need to build a competence ladder. This is how you break a huge, overwhelming goal into small, manageable steps. You don't just magically jump from beginner to expert. You climb rung by rung. You start at the bottom, needing some guidance. Then you move to working independently, all the way up to that expert level where people are coming to you for advice. All right, you've got your ladder. Now you need an engine to actually start climbing it. This next part is all about how you actively and consistently fire up that engine and accelerate your skill growth. And that engine is something called daily micro mastery. The rules are so simple, but you've got to stick to them. First, you practice for just 15 to 30 minutes every single day. Second, you focus on improving just one tiny variable at a time. And third, always remember that consistency crushes intensity. A little bit every day is way more powerful than one huge effort once a month. Now, to keep that engine running smoothly, you need 2 types of fuel: external input and internal proof. Externally, you need to seek out feedback. It's how you calibrate your progress and find your blind spots. Internally, you have to track your evidence. Look, our brains are wired to focus on the negative, so you have to fight back by keeping a wins log, a concrete, written record of your successes. Now for the final steps to really hit the accelerator. First, you have to intentionally enter the stretch zone. This means taking on tasks that are just, say, 10 to 15% beyond what you can comfortably do now. This is where real growth happens. Then, you anchor this new identity. And this isn't some fluffy affirmation. It's a declaration you make based on the proof in your wins log. You say to yourself, I am someone who delivers compelling presentations, because you have the evidence to back it up. When you start putting all these pieces together, something pretty amazing starts to happen. You don't just build confidence in a straight line. You actually create this powerful, self-reinforcing upward spiral where your growth starts to compound on itself. And this is what that confidence loop looks like in action. It all starts with a small, deliberate action, that daily practice. That action builds your competence. As your competence grows, you start getting real-world evidence of your ability. That evidence generates authentic confidence. And of course, that newfound confidence empowers you to take even bigger actions, which starts the whole loop over again, but at a much higher level each time. All right, we have gone through the why and the how. Now let's make this super practical. This is your clear, no excuses roadmap to put everything we've talked about into practice starting today for the next 30 days. Here is your 5-step plan. It's that simple. First, pick your one skill. Second, you commit to that daily 15 to 30 minutes of practice. Third, your mission is to document at least 10 specific wins in your log. Fourth, make sure you get some structured feedback twice from a mentor or a trusted colleague. And finally, before the 30 days are up, you have to execute one action that pushes you just outside your comfort zone. You know, following this plan is a lot like climbing a mountain. It takes consistent, deliberate steps. But with every single step forward, you build more strength, you elevate your perspective, until pretty soon you're looking out at a view you never ever thought was possible. So let's end with this one crucial takeaway. I want you to really remember this. Confidence without competence is delusion, but competence without confidence is wasted potential. The goal isn't to have one or the other. It's to systematically build both together. So the only question left is, which skill are you going to master first?
Find your true identity.
Lead your life with intention.